Jai Shri Gurudev ki Jai, Jai Shri Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. And yes, we were just in London and remembering our dear devotees, Vilasini Devi Dasi and dear Krishna Prabhu also. So we hope you're doing well. And devotees all coming together from Brazil, from Ukraine, from all over, from Norway, and from Latvia, from Italy. Chaitanya Moy back with us. Happy to see. We were in Brazil, and I was really thinking how wonderful it would be if you were able to be there too, to share so much with the Brazilians. They would be very happy next time you go to Brazil. If you can make a detour, no doubt, they'd be super happy to meet with you. Hare Krishna. And in Russia and everywhere. So dear devotees everywhere, including London, including the United Kingdom, including London representation here, Rasamoy Pandita Devidasi with us, and Saraswati Devidasi. I don't see her, but she is at the airport on her way back to London. And really, it is clear that here and London are side by side, both in the activities and in the family, the mood, etc. And here we have also with us Rasarati Devidasi, who is also a very happy London servitor and a happy Italy servitor too. So wonderful. All right, let us begin with Vandanam, mini Vandanam, but something to start us in an auspicious way. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamska Om Jnanatul Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Prarayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tvije Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavane Namo Namo. All right, so we hear Devashis Prabhu's voice giving Vanchakalpatarubhyascha too. And here we are together with the theme of not exploitation nor renunciation, but only by Devashis Prabhu, no, only by dedication. All right, the London Zoom happening only by Devashis Prabhu's grace and all of your participation. Devashis Prabhu.
Yes, Maharaj. Dandavat to everybody. I'm happy to be with you all. And yes, of course, this is a subject that we should be always aware of, thinking of, understanding properly. Not that, of course, to practice Krishna consciousness, we're always encouraged by the carrot rather than the stick, meaning that we're told that if we practice Krishna consciousness, we will become happy and fulfilled, and all of the things that we desire will become our actuated within us, and so on. But that's appealing to our exploitative nature, and this world is the a land of exploitation, as Srila Guru Maharaj would often describe it, and that no one can live in this world except through exploitation, which is true. But exploitation is always reactionary, and he says so. Then those of a more sober nature, a more thoughtful nature, they will consider, oh, this world there's always some reaction coming to everything that we do when we try to enjoy ourselves in this world. Then better to leave that and embrace renunciation, to renounce the things of this world. And that seems to have a more superior, you can say, regard, and the people regard those who are renounced in a more elevated way. But Srila Guru Maharaj explains that actually renunciation is just the other side of the same coin, because what are we renouncing? We're renouncing those things that we think will be enjoyable to us that aren't for our enjoyment in the first place. So, and of the two, of renunciation and exploitation, Guru Maharaj says exploitation is less harmful than renunciation, because the result of renunciation brings us to making our hearts hard, becoming indifferent to everything in the world, and that isn't helpful to us in our spiritual path. So he describes sometimes like in a company, if you're running a company, a business. So if all the employees, they steal from their business, then the business will go down. And also if everyone in the business withdraws their labor, they go on strike, then also the business will go down. So the business will only thrive if all of the employees and everybody, they all work together to make it a success. So this is what he's saying, telling us so many times, that not by exploiting the things of this world will we find fulfillment, and not by rejecting or renouncing the things of this world either will we find our fulfillment, but actually only by dedicating everything to the service of the Lord. So not to see, we have to change our angle of vision, not to see the things of this world as ingredients for our own enjoyment, our own betterment, and so on, and not to see them in a hateful way either, but rather to see everything as the ingredients for the service of our Lord, Lord Krishna, and our Gurudev and the Vaishnavas. And that will, the middle path, that will give us some proper fulfillment in life. And that is a very simple formula, if we can apply that formula, not by exploiting or renouncing, but rather trying to dedicate ourselves and everything that we come in connection with for the service of Hari, Guru and Vaishnava. So I've chosen something to read from Guru Maharaj's own words about this, and it's actually the first chapter of Heart and Halo, which is entitled "The Key is in Your Own Hand." So it's not so long, but I'll read that. So this is Srila Sridhar Maharaj speaking. There is consciousness of the higher, the subjective world, and consciousness of the lower objective world. Connection with the lower objective world binds us with misery, and relationship with the superior consciousness lifts us up and gives us real fortune. One result is from dedication, and another is from enjoyment. In a word, enjoyment is bad, and devotion is good. On the side of devotion is the Lord, and on that of enjoyment, misery. There are so many things to be enjoyed. This is the fascination with hell, with reaction. Bhaktis twayi stiratra bhagavan jadi shad. Daivena na Phalati Dibya Kishora Murti. Mukti Swayam Mukuli Tanjali Sevateshman. Dharmartha Kama Gayata Samaya Pratikshaha. This is from the Krishna Karnamrita. In his Krishna Karnamrita, Bilba Mongol Thakur says, Bhakti Stvayi Stiratara Bhagavan Jyadishat. My Lord, if my dedication, my veneration to you is permanent, is in a settled stage, Daivena na Phalati Dibya Kishora Murti, and if it reaches to such a height that we can find Dibya Kishora Murti, a young pair engaged in that highest pastime, if we can reach so far to find out the eternal pastimes of the divine couple, if we can reach to this extent, then we will find Mukti Swayam Mukuldi Tanjali Sevateshman. Oh, the facility of liberation, emancipation, with folded palms will come to serve us in any way we like. And Dharmartha Kama Gayata Samaya Praktishaha. Dharma, the result of dutifulness, Artha, money-making, and Kama, the objects of sense perception. They are all ready and waiting outside, and whenever a call comes, they will come in front of us. What do you want, my master, my lord? That will be our position. Dharma, Artha, and Kama will wait outside, and whenever we call them, they will present themselves. What do you want me to do? And Mukti, liberation, will be always moving around us with folded palms, doing service of different types. If in our fortune we can rise up to such a height as to find that divine couple engaged in happy pastimes. Bilva Mongol Thakur showed in his life a peculiar example, how from the house of a prostitute he went straight to Vrindavan and got the grace of the supreme entity. How in his life he was so much engrossed in and almost swallowed by sensualism of the lowest type, and from that position, in a single life, he could raise himself to the highest stage of realization of the beautiful. Mahaprabhu took 2 books from South India. One was Brahma Samhita, and the other was Krishna Karnamrita. Krishna Karnamrita is about the pastimes of Vrindavan, and Brahma Samhita shows the ontological basis of the Absolute. Oh, how the Lord of Vrindavan is the highest conception of reality. Krishna Leela is not a matter of history. In history, events occur. They happen once and can't recur at any time. It is an eternal flow in which what is going on in the past never comes again. There is an expression, history repeats itself, but that is in the similar nature of the event, not the actual fact. History repeats its nature, but what is gone is gone. Once it was gone, it has gone forever. But in Krishna Leela, in the eternal world, it is not so. It may present the same thing every time, at every second. Thus it is called Nitya Leela, eternal pastimes, crossing the limitation, the jurisdiction of history. In history, what is past is dead, but the pastimes of the Lord are eternal, Nitya, always present. Every Leela is eternally present. He can show himself in his eternal forms simultaneously. So in his past, present, and future, all events are simultaneously occurring. When he enters the arena of Kamsa, different groups are seeing him in different ways. What is seen by one section of people is seen differently by another, according to their own nature. Even the blind can see him if he wills. If he wills to show himself to anyone, though blind, one can see him clearly, because the eyes of flesh are not necessary to see him. By his willpower alone, he can reveal himself to any person. That was the case with Dhritarashtra in the Kurukshetra. Dhritarashtra said, "For the time being, my lord, restore my eyesight so that I can see your wonderful form, which the others are seeing and praising. You can do anything, so only for the time being remove my blindness." It is not necessary to remove your blindness, Dhritarashtra. I say, you see me and you will see me. And by his order, Dhritarashtra saw. His order, his wish is everything. His simple will is everything, the cause of all existence. The Kurus wanted to see Draupadi naked, but Draupadi's appeal reached him, and he sanctioned cloth, and that cloth became infinite, of infinite character. As much cloth as they removed, so much cloth remained. It is the will, the vichar, which is everything. Such great potency of such high quality is the prime cause. We are accustomed to think this is good and this is bad, and this is possible and this is impossible. We are accustomed to such consideration within our rules of thought, but these rules do not apply in his case. All of our experience will fail to occupy even a very negligible part of his kingdom. He is wonderful. In the example of the Vaman avatar, it is told of his wonderful stride, Adbhuta Krama. With one stride he covered the whole earth, and with the next he captured the whole of heaven. He then needed a place to put his third step, but where? He is Adbhuta Krama. He of wonderful stride, all of his steps are wonderful. He is wonder, the source of all wonder to our tiny brain. He is here, he is also everywhere. With his full representation, he is everywhere, yet he is nowhere. Everything is in him and nothing is in him. Krishna said, "Try to understand my peculiar position, Arjuna." He is the mystery of all mysteries. Even our own soul is astonishing to our worldly experience. Ascharjavat paschati kastidinam. Ascharjavat vadati tataiva chanya. Ascharjavat chainam anya srinoti. Srutvapi enam veda na chaiva kaschit. This is from Bhagavad Gita. We do not know the extraordinary nature of our own self. It is of a very high order, but our attention is focused towards so many mortal things. We have been introduced to and captured by the meanest aspect of the world. This is the consequence of the mood of enjoyment. We want to enjoy, we want to exploit. A good exploiter is a king to us, but exploitation in itself is degrading, very mean, and low. It takes us to the lowest position and makes us victims of a great reaction. Exploitation and enjoyment, we are in the midst of them and do not know anything but enjoyment. We want to understand anything and everything in terms of enjoyment. We are in such a filthy, degraded position. Only enjoyment, enjoyment, that is exploitation. But to exploit is the meanest type of nature. It is hateful, and we must get out of the clutches of that ghost of exploitation. And there is another ghost, renunciation, idleness. But the noble thing is dedication, a dedicated life. There are two ghosts, one of renunciation and the other of exploitation. And we have to get out of that nightmare, that mania, which is based on our tendency of measuring things to be good and bad. In exploitation, there is division into regular and irregular, or dharma and adharma, and then renunciation. So many great stalwarts of that conception recommend a complete cessation of the dynamic life, a dead stop, but that should not be the prospect of any conscious man. A dead stop to life. Is that any goal of life for the saner section? A life of nobility, a life of dedication, and not only ordinary dedication for the environment, but dedication for the highest good. That's the highest form of life. In the lower stage, that dedication is calculative. In the higher stage, spontaneous, automatic. And really there is joy. Joy is there in quality and quantity. In every way, real life is there. Life is there, and here is the worst shadow, the perverted reflection. And we are told, Uddared Atmanatmanam, the key is in your own hand. The freedom by which we can associate with anything good or bad and reap the result accordingly. Ultimately, we are told that the key is in our own hand. None else is to be blamed for our present condition, but there is always the possibility of noble help being extended to us, and we must accept that. Our past actions also influence us a great deal, whether they were good, bad, or of the eternal aspiration, sukriti. But ultimately, the possibility of free action is not taken away from us at any stage. Even if we are reduced to the level of taking birth as a tree, there also the freedom is within. It is hard to think that a tree has got independence, free will, but it is there in a suppressed position. Freedom is within us also, and we may try as far as possible to understand how it is so. But our freedom is also covered by so many conditions that we may think we are not free, but are forced by circumstances. But still, we are free for our selection of any path, good or bad. Our existence is very small, and so our freedom is also small and meager, but it is there. Though almost negligible, it exists. So there, that's the end of that article. So there, Guru Maharaj is given in a very clear way all of these things. And once I remember, and I was a little shocked at when I first heard it from Guru Maharaj. He said that real humility means where there is no aspiration for enjoyment, no tendency for enjoyment at all. That's what real humility means. And that's very almost shocking, really, because that's how we're programmed, isn't it? We're programmed to search for enjoyment, search for, fulfillment and satisfaction. And just we're always looking for those things in the external world and in our sensual experiences of this world, sensual and mental experiences of this world. But really, Guru Maharaj saying we're always looking down for things that we can use and people that we can get to serve us. But really, we should be looking up as to where are those that we can serve. When we are trying to aspire for service to the upper quarter, that will actually give us real fulfillment and a proper adjustment of our nature. It is hard to shake off that enjoyment tendency within us. And but if we try to utilize everything rather than for our own selfish enjoyment, but for the service of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava, then everything will be harmonized in that way. And everything will become positive, and everything will become good. There won't be any question of this is good and this is bad, ultimately, because everything will be for him and to be utilized for him. So then everything will be good. We pray for that, the day when that vision awakens within us, not just the theory, but some actual realization of that. So, Maharaj, that's my contribution for this evening.
And you've contributed the whole theme as well, Devashis Prabhu. And you've contributed the platform for us all to join together. So we appreciate very much. And actually, I have two witnesses here. I had that Heart and Halo selection or part of it. Here is a possibility for this evening. But Kumkum Devidasi, got to confirm my language. My language is English. Okay, save. All right. So Kumkum Devidasi, she has highlighted a section that we've actually read here in Italy, right next door to England. Very easy to come to Italy from England if anyone's there. Okay, so anyhow, right next door to the West London mat is Vila Govinda. It's just a little further from the East London mat. But we read it here in the morning program, and this is Srila Guru Maharaj in his commentary on the 7th verse of the Upadeshamrita. And then we're also reading this in the back to basics recently, and Kumkum Devidasi, it jumped out at her as well. So we think it is not a coincidence, and we think that she could read Srila Guru Maharaj's words, and these are on their, they're included in the sheet for the translators, the regular URL, and it's on page 176 of the Upadeshamritam book. So Kumkum Devidasi, would you like to transmit the content, not only read it because you've felt it, so you can transmit it kindly.
It is my honor, my Dandavat to all the Vaishnavas here. And Devashis Prabhu has picked out such a perfect topic. We can never hear enough. And we need to understand this very thoroughly because we are constantly being attacked by whatever we see from even like an infant, which we should give up as we go older and a little bit wiser. But unfortunately, the tendency is to always think whatever I see, I accept that if my senses want it, and therefore I will be exploiting it. I will gain it somehow by hook or by crook. And then when it's no longer of any interest, I'm bored with it, or I become apathetic toward it, then I think that I will renounce that. And so in my ignorance, I will be thinking that it's up to me how I will view this world. But fortunately, we do have the capacity to move away from this dark aspect. And so I was particularly happy to notice in this section of Upadeshamrita in verse 7, which is about the for one who is in darkness. We're not, the example is we're seeing something as sweet as sugar candy is bitter to us. And so how do we get away from that? We gain more about what is actually sweet. And so in Srila Rupa Goswami Maharaj's wonderful explanation, we actually get to understand that understand better at least that the holy name in particular, if we see this as not for our exploitation nor our renunciation, but by being dedicated. So as it's explained on page 176, and now a lot of this is of course perfect to read in entirety because of the lessons, the illumination for the holy names specifically, but this part about this principle of neither exploitation nor renunciation, but dedication, beginning on page 176, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, we shall try to think that the name is ecstatic, is ecstasy personified, and is purely engaged in spiritual play. Chaitanya rasa, ecstasy, rasa, that is purely spiritual, Chaitanya. It means that it is approached only through a serving attitude, a serving tendency. Not the least trace of exploitation or renunciation or negligence, indifference can be found in its midst. It commands our active sympathy. It draws our attention in a natural way. That is the nature of the service, submission and subjugation produced by its charming presence. Rasa is that fine and pious element that can attract our innermost attention and interest towards it. Chaitanya rasa is that in conscious form. Pure consciousness is a serving wave, a sympathetic wave towards the aim, vigraha. That is personified in the holy name. And then there's a wonderful section glorifying the holy name more. Then it returns, one who takes the name of the Lord, satisfied only with being engaged in the service of the sound aspect of God, is always pure. Such a person has no ambition in this world of elevation. They are neither an elevationist, nor do they make any quest for perfect rest in the renounced stage. Rather, they are a self-dedicating soul, one who takes the name of the Lord and is fascinated by the charm of the sound aspect of the Lord, is considered to be above the plane of exploitation, as well as the plane of renunciation. They are deeply engaged in service, so much so that they do not want anything. Only the name of Krishna is sufficient for them. They are so easily satisfied, they make no demands. So I'm very happy to have been reminded of this particular point. The holy names will help us.
Jai. And this excerpt, a short excerpt, certainly jumped out to a lot of devotees, and including ourselves. And we know about grinding chandan, sandalwood paste. The more you grind it, the sweeter it is. So we're very happy, Devashis, that you could share this with us here. And we've been hearing from Srila Guru Maharaj today, but also Srila Gurudev in Revealed Truth. I have just like 8 lines, very short, but right to the point. Srila Gurudev is excerpt 3 for the translators. And Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, as I say, very short excerpt, he's saying, and this is Narada Muni actually chastising Veda Vyas after Veda Vyas has compiled the Vedas. And then Veda Vyas is feeling, there's something missing. What have I done wrong? And then Narada Muni is giving him direction. So this is Srila Gurudev, in his words, explaining part of what Narada Muni is saying to Veda Vyas. So he's saying, the conditioned souls cannot conceive that their greatest benefit will come to them through service and dedication to the Lord. They only understand exploitation. And when they see the bad reactions they receive in the plane of exploitation, then they seek relief in the plane of renunciation. But there, they lose everything. The jiva souls cannot find the fulfillment of their existence in impersonal liberation. Only in the plane of dedication and service to the Lord is everything existing beautifully in harmony with the jiva soul's true nature. So you, Vedavyas, have not explained this to the conditioned soul. And so from the seed verses of the instructions of Narada Muni, so this is Srila Gurudev, that's the end of what Srila Gurudev was explaining. And then I'm saying that from these seed instructions from Narada Muni to Vedavyas came out the spotless Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam. spotless, that it is not giving a carrot on a stick, a short stick or a long stick, very tasty carrot or a very soggy carrot, no kind of carrot. The Srimad Bhagavatam is giving us only the land of dedication, and not only that, we hear that Srimad Bhagavatam is actually chanting the glories of Srimati Radharani throughout. And she is the greatest servitor of the Lord, and that supreme service has been demonstrated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself coming with the heart and halo of Srimati Radharani to show the joyful life of dedication. And Srila Guru Maharaj explains that here we are in one example, he is explaining that we're in a hospital. And so we are surrounded by other persons who are sick, not those who are healthy. The healthy persons are in the free land. So we should not take our standard from the hospital patients. We should take our standard from the healthy persons and learn what is their healthy state of mind. And so Vedavyas gave that to us in Srimad Bhagavatam. Mahaprabhu spotlighted the Srimad Bhagavatam and why it must be spotlighted and why it should be understood properly through the devotees and not just by trying to analyze the Sanskrit words and interpret. And so Mahaprabhu gave Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahaprabhu gave the land of service, Mahaprabhu gave the holy name, which is the very gist of the way that in Kali Yuga especially, we will come to get a healthy nature of dedication and lose the diseased part, which is, as we understand, the part of renunciation, and more dangerous in a way, the path of renunciation, which, I mean, I think a lot of us can agree is quite attractive sometimes. You think, yes, we could sit in a cave. The idea of sitting somewhere solitary and being undisturbed, etc. We can think, oh, that may be very good. But we've been warned everywhere that no, service is the important factor. And service will be realistic service when it is with the devotees, when it is in the service of our divine masters, all of whom tell us, don't go off to a cave and try to think that you'll be successful yourself, thinking that, oh, I will do service. Service is already with us. We've got the opportunity to serve. We are asking for service. Life is very short. And here we are with this service connection to the great souls of Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And actually, it's a constant theme throughout, basically, you can say, all of our books. All of the teachings of Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, and Srila Prabhupada is service, service, service. So however superficially enjoying it may mean satisfying it may seem to see all the expensive clothes, expensive cars, expensive houses, and so many things, it is superficial, temporary, and reactionary. And then, as Srila Gurudev pointed out in the revealed truth excerpt we just read from, Srila Guru Maharaj says, saying that when people realize the reaction that comes from exploitation, that actually exploitation is the cause of suffering and reaction will come, then when they realize that, then it's attractive to try to get out of any action and reaction. But that is not healthy. The healthy person is the person who has got a heart of dedication, and not just dedication to anywhere, but dedication to the Lord and to his devotees. So, in a nutshell, we're hearing about this in the different quotes we're hearing today, and especially we know of this from Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, whose life example has been directly with us. They're directly in this world, of this world. I mean, of the world means mixing with us. They're in the world, but approachable. Guru Maharaj was approachable by the grace of Srila Gurudev. And Srila Gurudev was approachable by his own grace, we can say. That he was approachable. And everybody seeing Srila Gurudev, and what did Srila Gurudev want always was the association of devotees. He didn't want to be alone, and he was practically never alone, except for a few minutes when one of his assistants would go down to get something from the bandri, or, you know, which the bandri means the store, the store, not the store, the shop, but the storage, the kitchen storage. Maybe he went to get some milk, or just like that. Briefly, Gurudev may be alone, but he always wanted to have devotees with him and to have that opportunity to discuss Harikatha and to engage in the service of developing the mat, developing the mission, caring for the devotees. And so we must see his example. We're all saying, everybody acknowledges that he's a good, great soul, the ideal personalities, and we are to follow in the footsteps of the great souls. And we want to be engaged in service and not hiding away somewhere. So practical things. And by the way, we've got several devotees here from in and around the UK. So we're very happy to see, and actually happy to see Priya Bhakta Prabhu at 4 in the morning. And he pops up time to time, and Priya Bhakta, happy to see you just next door to England, where you still have the Queen on your notes, I hear, in Australia. So must be next door to England if you've got the Queen on your currency notes. Anyway, Priya Bhakta, happy to see you, 4 a.m., 4:34 and a bit a.m. now maybe. Hare Krishna. So Saraswati, no, she's not here. Anyway, she's been here with us. Her plane leaves very soon. She's probably boarding the plane as we speak. But we do have here, we do have live Rasamoy Pandita and our Rasarati Devi Dasi. And both of them, they always come with something in their pocket to share. So if you like, we can ask them to share something on the topic. And you have a microphone? Yes.
Dandavad Pranam, everyone. Just a few small reflections for me. So many beautiful things have been said already, but Devashis Prabhu is quoting Guru Maharaj, describing humility, really struck me because it's so powerful. Sometimes I think about what exactly humility is, and it's something very mysterious because it's not a passive sort of a passivity. It's a real dedication and strength, focus, and how that then expresses itself in, what that means is a very, very subtle, very beautiful thing, but that his description was so helpful. And on this, I often think of this tendency for renunciation, how, again, subtle and pernicious, I don't know if that's the right word, it is, like, so all, it can actually be quite prominent in devotional life. This, if I just am honest about sometimes my thoughts, like this tendency to see the world as quite horrible, or like so full of suffering and so full of exploitation, and meanness. But this is not the Vaishnava's view. I'm always reminded, like, the Paramahansa Vaishnava sees everything as beautiful. They see Krishna everywhere, everything. And I was reading actually earlier, like, whenever we see something negative in the environment, that's Krishna testing us. Can we actually harmonize that properly? Can we adjust our vision to see the Lord and Gurudev everywhere, helping us, actually supporting us? So often we think, oh, this is all these, like, things are happening to me, these terrible things, but actually behind it, we recognize, we can later sometimes or quite immediately recognize that, oh no, it's actually Krishna helping me, it's Gurudev helping us, like that grace is always flowing and supporting us, to encouraging us to go on, to try harder, to show up. And so the Vaishnava's vision sees beauty everywhere. And it is a wonderful thing to remember when the tendency for renunciation pops up. Oh no, I don't want, like, this rejection of things. And I'm then often reminded of Gaudiya Darshan article by Guru Maharaj that's entitled, and says it all, utilize everything. Everything is there for the Lord's service. And it's just our adjustment is necessary. My adjustment is necessary to see it properly, utilize it properly, and then everything can be so beautiful and harmonious, even amidst trying times. So that's
And by the way, there's another title in the very latest Gaudiya Darshan magazine produced by Devashis Prabhu. The title is an article by Srila Gurudev. Devashis Prabhu gave the title, Invitation to Eternity. And in that article, how will we reach eternity? Not by exploitation. By that we stay in this world. And by renunciation, we don't reach eternity also. To stop, to try to do nothing is temporary, because the nature of life is to be active. And so sooner or later we'll be active. And if we haven't allowed ourselves to develop the idea of devotion to the Lord, then we're going to be again within the plane of this world of exploitation. And even if we think, well, no, I'll be successful, I'll never be wanting to be active again, I'll have a deep sleep. Even that deep sleep is considered maybe long time, but it is unfulfilling, because you don't have any activity there. It's just like deep sleep. So an invitation to eternity is a beautiful article, by the way, which has a beautiful picture of Srila Gurudev right beside it. And the picture and the title surely will draw anyone to read that article. If you don't have the magazine, send a petition to Devashis Prabhu, or I'm not sure how you order it, but from the London temples and from Devashis, you'll be able to get a copy. And here's Rasarati Devi Rasi, and what is she going to share?
Dandavat to all the devotees. And I knew about the topic of this Zoom very, like, 10 minutes before, so I don't have something to share, but I'm very grateful to have the possibility to be here with the devotee, and to listen all these beautiful things and amazing values, and really, how to say, these are, like, for me, like some stars that I follow to continue this working this way, in this bhakti way. And yeah, I want to say only that it's very, very difficult from my point of view. It looks like so beautiful and yeah, wonderful, but it's very, really not easy to choose dedication and in this world and in this Kali Yuga, that is really very hard time. And yeah, this is my little contribution.
Well, I think she's being successful because she was in London recently. She went for 2 weeks and stayed for maybe 6 weeks for quite a while. And they didn't want to let her go from London. And so it's a very good symptom when the devotees have opportunities, and when they're also happy to be serving, and who they are serving, where they're serving, they're happy with them. It's a very good symptom. So we are happy for that. And of course, the Italians weren't going to let the London devotees keep her forever. But already there's an agreement, the negotiation, that they'll share that service. And by the way, Leela Moy Prabhu is here somewhere. Oh, I've lost the Zoom now. And we see that his thumbnail picture is actually at Montebaro, or on the Montebaro expedition here. And he's also in a very fortunate position where the devotees are wanting him, giving him opportunity for service in different places. And so he's going to share his time between Brazil, London, Italy, and Thailand. Maybe I shouldn't advertise too much because others will be wanting to take his time as well. But happily, between the temples, they've negotiated him, and he's happy. He said, yes, whatever everyone decides, I'm happy to do. And this is very good nature of the devotees. So again, devotion, who is devoted, always welcome. And as Guru Maharaj said, a servitor is welcome everywhere. And one special servitor is Lavanya Devirasi in London. I saw her, and now is that the kitchen roof?
Yes. Yeah, floor maybe. Yeah.
Or the kitchen? Yeah, it's
Yes,
looking up.
Maharaj, it's the devotee kitchen roof. Very holy roof. It's in many devotional activities. One day it will just rise to the spiritual world of its own.
Okay, very good, Lavanya.
Good to see you all.
Okay, well, this is Lavanya Moy's contribution. It's good to see us all. We're happy to see you, Lavanya, too. Hare Krishna.
What was the subject of the... I'm a bit busy here.
Exploitation, renunciation, and dedication.
I only know about the first one, so I don't think I need to really comment, really.
It says not exploitation, nor renunciation, but only by dedication.
Yeah, I was listening to the readings, and everything was very beautiful. Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev presents everything so sweetly for us. I'm so fortunate. Hopefully one day I'll be able to actually follow it.
We all hope for that.
It's percolating down to the rock-like consciousness in my rock heart. But one day I have faith because they're super powerful. They won't give up on us. So one day.
Actually, there are many quotes when we do a little search in Krishna search for humility. Oh, well, yes, about humility also, but about exploitation, renunciation, and dedication. And really, we are being bombarded with the news, like constantly. with this news? Basically to wake up that we can only go to heaven, the heaven that we're really talking about, by dedication. There is no other way, no other way. And by the way, I just saw some chats come in on the chat box. And so, yes, obeisances to Tongarasa Devirasi and to Vilasini Devirasi, now in Russia. And she said they're each sending their obeisances. And Robert there in UK, he was asking if anybody can remember the definition of humility, and Chaitanya always put there that if I remember well, it is real humility is having no aspiration for pleasure. And Devashis can confirm that.
Yes, Maharaj.
And
Correct.
then Robert is saying thank you, and I always struggle with knowing what humility is. Well, very recently, Robert, I read the Golden Volcano of Divine Love. I'm still of divine love. I'm still reading it, but the third verse of the Shikshastakam, which is Trinadapi Sunichena Taroreva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadina Kitanya Sadaharihi, being more humble than a blade of grass. That verse. The commentary of Srila Guru Maharaj, the explanation of Guru Maharaj, is ever fresh and showing how glorious is humility. And actually, Komkom touched a little bit by saying that actually we have to be brave to be humble. It's not a weakness. To be humble, we have to actually be strong. The weakness is to give in to our mind, to be reactionary, to give a reaction, and to be, like assert ourselves, whatever it may be. But humility, it is a very special quality. So, Robert, if you like to understand more about humility, the third chapter of the second part of the Golden Volcano of Divine Love is very, very helpful for us. Because I read it recently, then it's the best chapter ever. You know how these things work. What we read recently, what we hear recently, they're always the best. Any question from any quarter for Devashis Prabhu? Or for anyone? For anyone. Shrayash Prabhu is here. Bhagirathi Devirasi in England is here. Rajesh is here, all in England.
Maharaj?
Yes.
Oh, Devashis, but I mean, so Robert's asked that good question and saying about no pleasure, but then, okay, tomorrow morning we wake up and it's a nice day, we're going to have a nice breakfast, we hope we go to a nice job, and how do we actually define that? Because it doesn't happen overnight or over lifetimes, maybe even. So it must be a bit of giving up something and going for the higher taste or something, how to understand it in the daily life.
I think you're answering your own question step by step there.
Well, a little bit, but I know that you can add more because you're a very clever person.
And that
yes,
Maharaj
Devashis, yes.
Sorry,
yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Guru Maharaj explaining this is as the ideal. The ideal of real humility is the absence of the aspiration to enjoy. So, which is that they almost seem on a sort of cursory examination. They seem, how do they even relate to each other? Well, it means because to enjoy means to exploit, and to exploit means we have to assert ourselves in the world. That's a dog-eat-dog world, as they say. So everyone wants to be the top dog, isn't it? Nobody wants to be in a tin and pedigree chum. So, that's everybody's aspiration. If I'm the top dog in the street, then, you know, I'll get the maximum return for that. I'll get the maximum enjoyment, the maximum pleasure, the maximum satisfaction, and so on. So, you know, it means, first of all, we just have to try to remain non-assertive, and it doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that you become, you know, like a doormat or something, you know, that everybody can walk all over you. As Guru Maharaj has also explained, that humility means humility to the sadhu, to the saints, to the Vaishnavas, to you know, the path that we're following. Humility to, not to the mad person in the street. But it doesn't mean at the same time that we should be only humble when we're with the devotees. It's just, there always has to be an adjustment. So, you know, as Guru Maharaj would often say, real religion means proper adjustment. So in every circumstance, we have to adjust to that. And a good rule of thumb, I think, is if we have some idea, and many of us have that some idea, because remember, we had over 25 years of association with Srila Govinda Maharaj. And I think if you look in the Akashic encyclopedia floating there in the plane of ideas and thoughts, and where you look up the verse, Trinadupi Sunichena, you'll find a picture of Srila Govinda Maharaj next to that, because he really personifies that in everything that he did, and everything that, you know, in all of his relationships with the devotees. So, you know, what we can do as his followers is try to consider in every situation, what would Srila Govinda Maharaj do in this situation? And also, what would he expect us to do in this situation? Because they're not always exactly the same thing. Because Srila Gurudev, as we know, he could sometimes do many miraculous and things that were quite unexpected by many of us, all of us. But still, what would Gurudev do, or what would Gurudev expect us to do? And that's always something that we should be conscious of, especially as we move in the world. You know, whether we're wearing tilak and a dhoti, or whether we're wearing blue jeans and a t-shirt, we should always be conscious of the fact that when I'm in the world, I'm representing my Gurudev, I'm representing my Guru Maharaj, even if I'm, you know, not overtly showing myself to be a devotee of Krishna, but still we want to be what we believe, and that's there shouldn't be any disparity between the two things. You know, what we preach, what we believe, all of the things that we always talk about, it shouldn't just be talk. It should be something that actually is part of our life, something that we implement in our own life. You know, and Srila Guru Maharaj has said, you know, in the absence of my Gurudev, then what should I wish to lead a peaceful life? Or, you know, should I face the challenges that must come to me? That what he has taught me, how have I accepted that? Just in an external way, in a showing way? Or is it something that's become deeply part of who I am? And we aspire that those things that we've learned from him have become part of who we are. And for that not to have happened to us, even in a small way, is almost showing ingratitude to him, because he gave so much of himself to all of us, and everybody knows that. You know, so and why did he do that? Because he wanted the very best for all of us, and the very best means that, you know, we should try to be like him. We should. This is, you know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has mentioned this, and you know, there's a good book, Christian book. It's called the Emulation of Christ. So, and it means, like, not to impersonate or you know, to copy in a, you know, like, oh, he walked like this and he carried his cane like this and he made expressions like this, but not that, but rather, you know, what the qualities that he showed as the great saint that he was, we want that to be part of who we are. So this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that this is real sadhu sangha. Real sadhu sangha means that you yourself become like that sadhu that you're associating with. And that should be our aspiration for that. And, you know, of course, that may sound ridiculous, that, you know, we can't think that we'll ever be like Srila Govinda Maharaj, but we should remember that that's really what he wanted from us. He really wanted that for all of us, that what he is, that how he is, and we can say the very perfect servitor of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he wanted us to be that too. That's why he spent so much of his life and so much of his blood and so much of his energy to teach us. So, you know, that's what we want. That will be the thing, I believe, that will be the thing which gives him the greatest happiness, is when he sees his disciples and his followers becoming like he is. And that should be our aspiration. And really, he's the embodiment of humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others, and never expecting that for himself. And so that should be at the core of our sadhana, our own personal aspiration in spiritual life, to try to be that. And okay, that will, you know, as Lavanya said, we wake up in the morning and everything's lovely, and, you know, it's not that we shouldn't enjoy those things, it's just that that's not our reason for being, is not to enjoy the sunny day or the, you know, the nice company at work, or the whatever it is. That's not our aspiration. Our aspiration is to serve him and to become like him. That's the answer, my answer to that question. Maybe Maharaj can give some other or deeper understanding.
Well, I have witnesses here when you were saying that we should always consider what Srila Gurudev would do, or what Srila Gurudev would want us to do. And really, this is the gold standard all along, that we've got this beautiful example. And so to understand, and how do we know what he wants us to do? We need to try to understand that from his words, from the books, and from the devotees. Because again, we can interpret many things, but Gurudev had nature. And so many devotees in this world, they are recipients of grace of Gurudev generosity. So as far as possible, we try to be with devotees who have got some touch of Gurudev, have direct association, as well as the all-important part, the association of service to him. And we know many examples where it is the service which will reveal the actual nature of the disciple, but the disciple will have revealed the nature of the master through service. And there can be those who spend time but never really knew Gurudev at all. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that of one of his sannyasi disciples. Or, you've been with me for so long, but you never saw me. But we want to see Gurudev, we want to know his nature, and we want to try as much as possible to follow that. Hare Krishna. And in the chat box also, yes, Prayash, Dandavats, happy to receive your message here. And by the way, just on the part of enjoying, I know we're way over time, but I just thought that one of the classic verses that we say every single day practically is the Sharirara Vidyudam Jarindriya Kahikam verse, where it is natural to eat, it's natural to live in this world. But how will we live? We will live on the Lord's remnants, with our food, with our life, with our everything. We're living under the eye of the Lord. We're living by offering everything to him, taking his remnants, and this way our devotional life will quickly take a tangible form. It's not that we are as Devashis was saying, that we're saying one thing and doing something else. We really want to take prasad, and we really want to take the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Means take, means receive the mercy in its various forms. Prasad is used in various ways throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita, but used for mercy. So we are here and seeing anything, our health, whatever health we have, and we're all on a scale of 0 to 50%. Very few of us are in the 99% department, maybe some of the teenagers. But whatever health we've got, whatever brain we've got, whatever capacity we've got, we'll try to use that and see that that is the grace of the Lord. Whatever comes to us in way of capacity, it's not our capacity, it's also given to us, just like wealth is given or anything else is given. And we must try to utilize everything for the Lord. And we are not trying to get satisfaction, but the natural position of the Jiva soul is to be engaged in such a way, to see everything as the grace of the Lord, and whatever grace is coming, we will use for Him. So this isn't the selfish enjoyment, but rather it's the goal of our proper healthy life as a devotee. So it all comes back to devotion, devotion, devotion. Jai, Devashis Prabhu and all the assembled devotees. I'll pass the microphone back to Devashis Prabhu. He's looking after us on the London Zoom, with my appreciation, and our chance to give obeisances now, but at the end too. Your microphone is off, Devashis.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, my there was some noise going on. So yes, thank you everyone for joining with us. I know it's run over time a little bit, but never mind. That's all good. And I hope we will be able to join with you next week. Actually, next week I'll be in Hungary, and you probably also, Maharaj, next Monday. But maybe we can try to do the Zoom from there. I don't know. We shall see.
I think the answer is yes. We always try to keep the Zoom running as far as possible, and we'll have Devashis Prabhu certainly on that day. I think I'll be in the sky at that time, but that's fine.
Okay. So until then, Jai Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Rupanuga Guru Bhagya ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bo Vanchakalpa Tarubis
Rubhischa Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai.
And Jai Sripad Devashis Prabhu ki jai, and of course Kum Devidasi ki jai, our translators ki jai, and to Lavanyamoy Devidasi, all our London team, all the speakers, and all the devotees from different quarters and everywhere, from Brazil, Ukraine, from Australia, from North Pole to South Pole. And happy to see you, and so many coming from Brazil here just with us as well. Happily seeing you. We were there just recently, as you know. South Africa also, and Latvia. Okay, dear devotees, our obeisances to you all, and we'll see you all very soon. Be a devotee, not an enjoyer and not an exploiter. This is the message. This is Devashis Prabhu's message today, carrying the message of all of our masters. Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari, Dandavat, with all best wishes.